Now let's focus on the basis of the Southern Gospel Vamp that came from demo video 1. And let's just break down this section that handles the rhythm and the underlying current of the song, if you will. We're in G major, so your only accidental is going to be F sharp in the G major scale. Okay. So let me just play that one time through as a refresher, just to let you hear that. And you'll notice in the right hand there are several times where we have what we call grace notes. So your fingers start on the black keys and then grace to the white. So B flat to B natural, and then there's also a grace on C sharp to D. And those occur at the same time. And then you'll notice it also happens just a little further up when you get to the fifth note of the G scale, or the fifth of the chord tone, 1, 3, and 5. And then also in the seventh, the minor seventh. Alright, so let's zoom in just a little closer. The simple form of this particular movement is, of course, a G major chord, and you're moving the fifth and the third and the fifth, up, and then up again, back down, and down again. Alright, this time let's try and add in the grace notes that we talked about, starting with the black notes and then sliding, gracing to the white notes. Okay, let's speed up the tempo just a little bit as we practice together. There's another little trick that I use that I picked up from watching other folks and hearing things. Oftentimes you can use your thumb instead of just playing one note like the G chord. You can use your thumb to play two notes. So you can use your thumb to depress the F natural and the G natural at the same time. So this would be how that would look. That's part of what gives this particular vamp or lick or movement its unique sound, is you'll hear the term a lot of folks use called voicing. It's how you position the chord tones in inversions and in relation to one another, and this is part of that voicing. Okay, so now that you've got the basics of which notes are being used in the progression, let's turn our focus now just a little bit to the rhythm. You'll feel that offset, kind of jazzy rhythm of syncopation, things that occur on off beats instead of occurring 1, 2, 3, 4. You'll feel them go 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and there's a lot of that movement going on here. So let me just play a snippet and as we build. If you notice, there is a rocking motion, and by that I mean left to right, back and forth, that occurs in this sequence, and here's a slow demo of that. Alright, so let's speed up the tempo just a little bit using that back and forth, left to right rocking motion. Alright, so now let's bring it up to a regular tempo like you heard in the original demo, using just the right hand. One thing you should remember is variety. You don't usually want to play the exact same formation or the exact same voicing or inversions of the chords the same way every time. You want to add some change and variety, and that's what gives a characteristic sound and helps people to sit up and take notice, so to speak, of hearing you change how the chord sounds and how the chord progression sounds. So you don't necessarily want to use two notes on your thumb all the time. You may want to just alternate back to one note, and then as you progress you may want to switch for variety and put that seventh back with those two notes together under the thumb. So just change it up and find your style and what you like to hear and what's comfortable for you to use. So that's the right hand of the lower end of the vamp. The other thing that we would need to focus on is that steady rhythmic bass. For instance, your left hand is going to be mimicking or handling what a bass guitar player would be using. If you did not have one, your left hand has to cover that part. If you have a bass player, that's a totally different ball game, and we'll get to that later on in another set of videos. For now, let's focus on the left hand. And so you've got a G chord that you've been working with in the right hand. So you need everything that you play to match up in the scale and in the key and the chord of what you're playing. So 1 and 5 is that alternating bounce that your left hand will be doing that would mimic a bass player, back and forth, left to right. 1 and 5, 1, 5, 1, 5, 1. So let's just take a look at that and break that left hand down by itself. So your 1 or root or tonic in that chord will be G. 1 is G, and then 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 would be D. So you're going to be alternating back between G or 1 and D and 5, and it would sound like this. And the pattern that is predictable about this particular bass movement, if you're in 4/4, so 4 beats to a measure, and a quarter note gets 1 beat, and that's what this particular vamp is based on. You've got 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So 4 beats in every measure, so you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. There's your measure. That's one measure. So let's put the vamp in the left hand with the vamp in the right hand in its simple forms slowly. Okay, just use that same tempo, and we'll play 2 notes with the thumb, and then now we will incorporate the grace notes, sliding from the black keys to the white keys. We'll just take it slowly, putting it all together. All right, now let me add in just a little flavor of syncopation in some of what people may call the backbeats, and you'll hear the difference. It's a little more choppy, a little more syncopated.